So why do you cook with animal fat, Doc? Fair question. I used to be a vegetarian, so I understand the raised eyebrow. Speaking of animal fat, when a family member recently asked, "What the heck is beef tallow?" it reminded me that many people, patients on the south side of Chicago, busy parents, even clinicians, never got the basics. So today, I'll fix that in plain English. What these fats are, how to make them at home, and why I recommend them as a practical, safer way to cook. But before we start, one definition we'll use a lot. That's rendered. Rendered simply means you slowly melt raw animal fat on low heat so the pure fat separates from water and the tiny meat bites. Then you strain it. What's left is clean liquid fat that gets firm when cool. Think melt, separate, strain, store. If you've ever saved bacon grease after breakfast, you've already done a casual version of rendering. Now let's meet the main characters. Let's start with beef tallow. Beef tallow is the clean, neutral fat you get after rendering beef fat. The most delicate tallow often comes from suet, the firm fat around a cow's kidneys. Lard is pork fat. Leaf lard from the kidneys is mild and great for baking, while back fat lard has more pork flavor that's fantastic for frying and beans. Duck fat is rich and silky, famous for crispy potatoes and beautiful sears. Smoked is chicken fat, a traditional staple that makes eggs and vegetables taste like comfort food. Ghee is clarified butter, meaning the milk solids are removed, so it tolerates heat better and can be easier for some dairy-sensitive folks. Now, why would a board-certified obesity doc recommend animal fats when saturated fat still gets side-eye? 3 reasons. First, kitchen safety. Some oils are fragile. When they get very hot, they oxidize. Translation, they react with oxygen and break down, forming harsh compounds you don't want. You can smell it as that sharp, stale, burnt odor. Fats that are richer in saturated and monounsaturated fats, which tend to be more heat stable, like beef tallow, duck fat, and ghee, are generally calmer at normal cooking temperatures than many seed oils that are high in polyunsaturated fats, or PUFAs, and are therefore more delicate and break down faster with heat. Second, the heart story is more nuanced than the headlines. A major 2020 review in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found no clear benefit from further cutting saturated fat for heart disease or overall mortality, and even noted protective associations for stroke. Context matters. Saturated fat inside a whole food, unprocessed meat, or full-fat dairy doesn't behave the same as a number on a spreadsheet. My root cause lens says the bigger drivers are ultra-processed carbs, added sugar, poor sleep, chronic stress, and not moving enough. Third, smoke points aren't the whole story. Smoke point is the temperature where you see smoke. It's not a perfect measure of stability. Purity and freshness matter more. A clean, well-filtered animal fat can cook calmly at typical home temperatures. The rule is simple. Keep heat reasonable, avoid visible smoke, and don't burn the fat whatever you use. Alright, how do we actually render fat at home? It's easier than it sounds and it saves money. Step 1. Get the right raw material. Ask your butcher for beef suet if you want very clean tallow. For lard, ask for leaf fat. For duck fat, save duck skin and trimmings. For smoked, collect chicken skin and trim. These are often inexpensive, sometimes free, because most people don't ask for them. Step 2. Prep. Cold fat is easier to cut. Trim off obvious meat or membranes. Chop into small pieces, about a ½ inch. Smaller pieces melt faster and give better yield. If you have a food processor, poach the cold fat a few times until you have small granules. Think snow, not sludge. Step 3. Choose your method. Stovetop, oven, or slow cooker. For the stovetop, put the chopped fat in a heavy pot on the lowest heat. In the oven, spread it in a roasting pan at 225 to 250 Fahrenheit. Slow cooker, set it at low. At the start, add a tablespoon or 2 of water to prevent sticking. It will evaporate. The key is low and slow. As the fat melts, you'll see little pieces, often called cracklings, turn golden and sink as they dry out. Glossary moment. Cracklings, or gribbonines in Jewish cooking, are the crispy bites left after rendering. And yes, they're delicious. Step 4. Strain. When the bubbling calms and the bites are lightly golden, turn off the heat. Set a fine strainer lined with cheesecloth over a clean, dry jar and pour the hot liquid fat through. That's your pure cooking fat. Let it cool, cap it, and store it in the fridge for best quality. If you made a big batch, freeze some in smaller containers so you only thaw what you'll use. Now, let's match fats to jobs so your meals taste amazing. Beef tallow is neutral and sturdy. Great for searing steaks, frying eggs, and roasting vegetables for those of you who are not carnivores like me. If you want the palest, cleanest tallow, start with suet and strain twice. Lard comes in 2 personalities. Leaf lard is clean and subtle, perfect for flaky pie crust or tortillas. Black fat lard brings savory pork flavor that makes beans and sautéed greens sing. Duck fat is pure luxury. It turns potatoes glassy crisp and gives chicken thighs a steakhouse-level sear. Smoked is great for eggs, onions, and roasted veggies when you want a big wow with simple ingredients. Ghee shines for high-heat sautéing and anyone who loves butter flavor but needs fewer milk solids. Storage tips. Purity equals longevity. The cleaner you strain, the longer it stays fresh. Keep jars sealed away from light and heat. Use the fridge for routine cooking and the freezer for backup. If the fat smells paint-like, fishy, or just wrong, that's oxidation. Time to discard and make a fresh batch. And yes, you can save bacon grease, but it already contains brown bits and seasonings. So treat it as a flavor booster rather than an all-purpose frying fat. Let's talk cost and access. Rendering turns throwaway trimmings into premium cooking fat. That's good for budgeting and good stewardship. Ask your butcher for suet, leaf fat, or poultry skin. If you buy whole chickens or cooked duck, you've already paid for the raw materials. Save the skins. Render once a month and cook like a chef all month. Here are some common questions I hear. Isn't animal fat unhealthy? Context is king. If your plate is stacked with sugar and refined starch, your metabolism is already stressed. Swap the sugar for protein and real food. Choose a stable cooking fat, sleep, walk, and manage stress. That combination moves labs and waistlines in the right direction. What about cholesterol? Dietary fat can nudge cholesterol markers in complicated ways, but outcomes depend on the whole lifestyle package. We're not trying to win a lab contest. We're trying to build a healthy life. Do smoke points matter? Somewhat, but not as much as purity and not overheating. If you see smoke, turn the heat down. Can I mix fats? Sure. But I keep jars separate so I know what flavor I'm adding. How long does rendering take? Anywhere from 90 minutes to 3 hours depending on the amount and method. Low and slow wins. What are cracklings good for? Sprinkle them on salads, veggies, or eggs. We use it in my home as a snack. What about seed oils? For salads, a good olive oil is great. For high heat frying, I prefer stable fats that don't break down as easily. I'll end where I began. I don't recommend animal fats because I switch teams. I recommend them because patients get better when they cook real food in stable fats, reduce sugar, respect sleep, and move their bodies. That's not dogma, it's outcomes. And if you're brand new, start simple this week. Render 1 small batch of tallow or smoked. Cook your eggs in it. Roast a tray of vegetables if you're not carnivore and taste the difference. If you're a seasoned low-carb or carnivore pro, drop your best tips in the comments. Your cut size, oven versus slow cooker, double straining tricks, so our community learns together. And if you're a clinician watching, take this as an invitation to revisit the evidence with fresh eyes. And for all of you, if this helped, tap like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves good food but hates a smoky kitchen. I am humbled that you continue to come to my channel, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.